All right, so today I'm going to show you a little bit of the behind the scenes of another piece that has kind of had my attention for a little while now. For the moment, it's been called the COVID Sonata. I have no idea if that's how it's going to end up finishing, but that's kind of the idea. And with this one here, I was trying to write out something for a newborn here before she comes out, and I had very different intentions, and the stuff that was coming out I wasn't exactly too thrilled with, and then this idea just started coming together, and I went with that instead. So we're going to be trying this one out here, and depending so we're going to get started with the sostenuto pedal here. I'm really excited about this. This is something that's been in my head for a long time. Like, why don't I write music that uses this pedal that I like so much? So when you put this sostenuto pedal down, you have to select the notes that you want to play. So I'm going to be playing C's and D's here. All right. And it's kind of my own musical joke in that one. Now that it's a joke, but my reference here is that COVID starts with a C and ends with a D, and we have those notes on the piano here. So again, I'm going to select a bunch of those ones. The idea is that it's just going to be making that sound, and it's going to sustain that sound there for a little while. This whole opening movement starts with those notes being sustained, while the notes around them do not sustain their sound there, okay? So again, I'll select those notes. And this one starts off kind of how I envisioned how COVID kind of started off, just really soft, and yet it got our attention right off the bat. Kind of fun, isn't it? So things aren't perfect here for some of the sustains. But it really just creates a strange sound here. So now I'm going to show you just a little bit how this piece works. All right, so again, this is my piece here. You can see my app. I'll even back out just a little bit for you so you can see this app as it is. So this is called Symphony Pro, and you can find it down here. It's this blue button with the S and the P there. All right. So inside this one, I have all sorts of music that I've written and music that I've helped other people working on as well. And so this one all the way to this upper left here, that's the COVID Sonata that is previously being named. As you can see, all these notes are in purple right now because I'm using multiple voices as I'm working through this piece, specifically now that I've flipped the voices around. When you're trying to, if we look at this this measure right here, the one that I just highlighted, if you look at this measure right there, that we have a whole note in that measure, and then I'm also putting in notes above that. So we have one voice below and we have a voice up above, and that's what I mean by that. If you take a look at these notes right over here, they are squares. Now, I had to look this up because I don't even know how, I've never seen the sostenuto pedal used. It's kind of open because it's really rarely used, and people just kind of make their own ways with it. But they suggested using the diamond shapes or even the X shapes. I can change these notes into different themes here just by these options down below. So let me make sure I've got all of them selected just so you can see how I can do this. select notes. All right, so I've got them. They're nice and blue now, and I can put an X through them, which would be an option as well. I can do nothing. I can turn them into note heads or triangles, sorry. But I was enjoying this diamond shape one the most. Another one that you might have done would be those X's there. So anyways, those are the, that's how we decide, or that's how I tell the people that are going to be performing my pieces, hey, I want you to select these notes. And then if you name these ones, we have C and D and C and D and C and D. And so you just put them down. This is actually really hard to read. That's a P-E-D. It means pedal there. Specifically, it's most often used for that sustain pedal. But again, editors are all over the place with this stuff on how they decide to go about that. And when I was growing up, I always thought it was Leo, and I never understood why Leo was something that was written all over my music here. So, all right, so that's how this one starts. And then notice that I just, right at this beginning here, again, I'm going to get rid of the highlighting, at least for now. It's kind of a fun thing that we can do. So now it just looks like regular music. So we start right here off with this note, and if you saw me play it earlier, I can just play that note and release it because it's actually a note that has been picked previously. So it's sustaining that sound, and so is that D when I add in the D later. But when I try and play this G or F, notice how I even have to write it out. I have to write that note in and then tie it over so it sustains out, and that tells me, the performer, that I have to hold that key down. All right, so just kind of a lot of fun small things in there. For you music nerds that maybe haven't seen music in a while, here's a couple of things for you. We've got our fermatas that tell us, the performer, that you can hold this pitch out as long as you want. The recommended value is 2 to 3 times the value of the note. So that's applied to these two notes right here. And those are half notes. Half notes are worth 2. So I can hold that one for 2 to 6 counts as long as I want. Chances are I'm not really actually doing that. It's probably more like a retardando. So I'm probably overdoing this. If you see this weird little arrow here, I'm going to extend it out just a little bit here for you. This is what we call a rolled arpeggio. And so I can go... As you can hear, instead of playing all these notes at the same time, nice and clean, I start at the bottom, and that's just all that is right there. And so that's just telling me, the performer again, to just kind of roll them as I go through that. So that's kind of this cool opening thing here. Again, I start with this C, C, D, and it just kind of builds, again, a lot like how I felt the disease itself started out. Just the exponential growth moved really, really fast through all that sort of stuff. So it's just a really, really interesting piece here for the most part. And that's kind of how this opening movement starts. And then right when we get to here, I'll zoom in. Sorry, this is much easier for me to do for you. I can zoom in right here. Right here, this is where the tempo just kind of shifts, and just the energy of everything that's going on when we realize it's not just somewhere, it's here, and things are manifesting and all that sort of stuff. So I'm actually going to pick up playing right off that spot because this is a really, really fun piece for me to play. It's really, really intense. This is still in the opening section of this piece where I'm thinking, we're just understanding. We haven't actually hit quarantine yet. So again, I'm picking up right off of those 16th notes and the dotted 8th notes there. Oh, I should mention this. This is always worth mentioning too. Inside of this, in my left hand here, this note is a C and this note is a D. So I'm still referencing COVID in my own way here right off the bat. And that's the note that you'll hear that's changing. Da, 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 da. Okay? So take a listen for that. All right, here we go. Let me select these notes on what ones I want highlighted. All right, here we go. Ready, go. Sound. Now I pick up right here, this is measure 32. My right hand just starts doubling what the left hand's doing there with those C's and D's, and just extending that pattern. The COVID is really growing, and it's becoming a real problem here. I'm just going to skip just a little bit here, and we're going to continue on right here. Now this is where my own writing gets a little bit messy, and the app that I use is a little bit, again, messy actually, because I don't want to overwrite in anything and make it too complicated. So my right hand is going to, sorry, it jumped out on me. My right hand's going to be playing these three notes right here, and then these three notes. Then this right here is a different voice, which is why you'll see a rest written right up above a note here. So voice 1 is playing da-dum, da-dum. Come on. Da, da. All right. Voice 2 is actually going to be my left hand. I'm going to throw it over my right hand here, and it's going to try and grab these notes here. Just another way of me showing that I'm building just, again, a lot of intensity, and I really was enjoying what I was hearing here. So I haven't practiced this, so I might miss a couple of these spots because it's going to go. Okay? So bear with me if I make a couple of mistakes, but that's the idea with this one here, right here. And then I'm going to show you just the opening section here of the quarantine series. All right. Whoops. So right here, this is where my sostenuto pedal starts to break down, and it'll be better for me to use my damper pedal. So when you end your sostenuto, you want to use this weird little flowery sign. Sorry guys, I'm not used to showing my paper off like this. All right, so just showing you, I started my sostenuto way up here with those basically two notes up and down the piano here. They've been ringing all the way throughout, and then when I get to measure 46, the music is just kind of getting too much. And it's just easier for me to actually switch to damper pedal, and it just really kind of opens up the sound. The entire piano starts ringing in its own fashions as well. So just a really fun spot right there. Now I come right back to end this opening section as everything's growing, everything's getting pretty dire. This is where my next movement more or less starts out. Sonatas have a very specific form, so I don't know if I'm actually going to adhere to it, but this is where things change. This is where quarantine basically happens. And another cool thing is that I resort back to using this the sostenuto pedal here, but I've changed notes. I don't remember specifically if I had any significance, like musical significance, why I chose the B flat major chord, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. I think it's just something I did. So whatever. So now instead of just picking select notes here, I actually have a chord that will ring. And one of the cool things here is I'm coming off of all this extra sound, and then it's all going to just decay right into just this B flat chord that will continue ringing. It'll actually fade out, and then some of the notes that I play, like way down here, if you look at these notes here, I'll zoom in. This will be kind of cool to see. So I in those blue notes there, I have a B flat, a D, and an F. And right here actually is the exact same B flat, D, and F. So when I play these three notes right here, it's really going to ring, and I have a whole measure of rest right here afterwards where that B flat chord is just ringing. So I was really impressed with how this section kind of opens up and changes. So this will be the last thing I'll show you for today, but as you can see, it has continued on, and I do some other things with it. So right now I'm at, this is measure 128. I'm looking at 127 measures of written out music right now. Oh, no. I've got one more thing to mention, and I might as well mention it now while we have this. So this is really cool. If you look at this treble clef, it has an 8 written above it. And so piano has 88 keys on the piano, and our grand staff, if you want to call it that, which is the thing that has this treble clef and bass clef, it only grabs like 26 notes out of those 88 keys. Now, professionally speaking, I've never, ever come across anybody use this treble clef with the 8 written above it or below it. And all that means is to just play whatever notes that are written, specifically in my left hand here. I'm going to play that up an octave. Otherwise, I would have had to leave it as this treble clef that's right to the left of that blue note there. I would have had to leave it as the treble clef as it is, and then also add in, let me see, yes, I knew I have one of these. I would have to add in an 8 VA. And so I'm just testing this out. It's kind of cool. But so instead of adding in that extra dotted line across all of these notes here, and it's below my right hand, what it's playing, it would just kind of like cluster up this page. It just makes it cleaner. So I'm trying that out, and that's not something that anybody needs to know or worry about, but you can see it over here. I've also written it in there. And so I'm testing it out. I was actually kind of enjoying that. So yeah, that's just this. So I'm going to actually pick up right about right here, all right, where you can see that nice big chord, and lead you right into the beginning of my musical story of quarantine. All right, so here's the ending to this opening section. And start listening to how everything else is just going to start fading away. I'm going to release that damper pedal. You can still hear those notes, and now I'm pushing down the sostenido of the pedal. I might do that faster or slower in the long run, but now I'm going to start continuing on right here. And if the microphone is picking it up, I'll play that again. There's some extra ringing that's happening, and this is some of those overtones that I have talked about in one of my previous videos, which is another awesome reason to use this pedal here. All right, continuing on, I'm right here, adding in my left hand. This is where everything has just stopped. All right, I've already let go of this chord right here, but it's just ringing because those are the notes from earlier. All right, so that's just some of the stuff back there about one of my new pieces that I'm writing. I'm pretty excited about that one. It's going to be pretty cool. Very different from the stuff that I write about, at least in terms of like motivation and that sort of stuff. This is definitely more of like inspiration from just things that we've been through together. So I hope some of that has triggered some thoughts for you as well. And yeah, even through all this stuff that we have gone through, we are going through, it's not over yet, at least by the time that I'm recording this video here. You know, there's things that we've taken from this and that we can take from this that we will take with us, lessons learned through the rest of our lives. So again, just a piece I'm pretty excited about, and I can't wait till it's done so I can share it with you guys. All right, take care.